So here we are, everybody. How's everybody doing? It's Thursday, I think. We're going to talk about scrommiting today, which is a new thing that has been all over the news for the last week or two. We've reported it on the High and Homegrown main show on Sundays, but I thought we should take a closer look at it in this episode we have here today. It's crazy shit, man. Yeah, anyone hear about the growing found under the M11? And I was thinking about covering that one as well. Today, DCI Burnside. I did see it, and I was like, man, I'd like to see what's going on over there. But man, yeah, I thought this one was going to be more important to cover, because I think it's just, and I'm not saying cannabis hypermesis is not a thing, because I do think that is a thing. There are people that do suffer with this condition, but I think it's massively being exaggerated. And I think they're just trying to slander cannabis, as they always do, with this new thing by rebranding cannabis hypermesis as this scrommiting thing, and just visualizing it, you know, because they call it scrommiting, right? Because it's vomiting and screaming at the same time. And I just kind of think that that's ridiculous. I don't know if you know, there's a poll in the chat there. If you're joining us live, there is a poll in the chat. The question is, do you believe this is actually a problem or just another scare story? And there's 4 options, as there usually is. It's a real issue. It's exaggerated, somewhere in the middle, or no, we need more info. That's the options that you have. So please, if you are joining us live, hit that poll. Let me know what you think, and we'll discuss when we get to the end of the news story here. But I did find an interesting article, and this is why I wanted to bring this on, because many of us are already cannabis consumers, so we already have some kind of position on this, and most of us think that it is BS, and there is people in this news article that agree with us that it is BS, just hyped up propaganda to slander cannabis once again. And there's so many people in the chat as well saying, never heard of it. For real. It's just come out of nowhere. For the last couple of weeks, it's been everywhere. Everyone's talking about this scrommiting thing. Like it's taking anybody who smokes cannabis is suffering with this scrommiting. It's absolutely ridiculous. And as I said, the cannabis hypermesis, that's one thing. A very, very small percentage of people do actually suffer with it. And to make it stop, you just stop consuming cannabis. It's not like it damages you for the rest of your life or anything like that. You can stop it by stopping consuming cannabis. It's not life-threatening. I mean, I'm sure it is if you carry on smoking, you keep on being sick, you can get dehydrated, and then you'll suffer with more issues. Isn't that a whitey? You know what I'm saying? You know, it isn't. But it's not the same thing, because, you know, whitey is when you just smoke too much cannabis, then, you know, you'll feel better after 20 minutes. But this is persistent. Anytime you smoke cannabis, you'll start being sick. It's the whole scrommiting thing that I find strange. This leaning over the toilet and being sick, or like that, projectile vomiting. Remember that movie from back in the day? That Guest House Paradiso with Rick Mayall, remember? And there was a whole scene in there when everyone's just projectile vomiting. It's like, what is actually going on? Anyway, we do have a news story that we're going to talk about with this. And I've already expressed that I think this is just an exaggeration to try and slander cannabis. Yeah, and it's shocking as well how just now everybody's talking about scrommiting, but all the evidence that there is that cannabis helps epileptic kids have less seizures. Have you ever seen that spammed across the news? Huh? What about all these people who have Parkinson's and they use cannabis and they're like, oh, the tremors stopped. I feel so much better. You ever seen that spammed across the news? No. Ridiculous. But just this slight issue, this negative thing that they can link towards it, and it's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it on all these huge news networks, but nobody ever talks about the good points, do they? There's some dodgy propaganda going on here. I feel as if they're trying to change the public stance on cannabis and make everybody scared of it again. Some renewed reefer madness is going on. Madness, not reefer madness. That's the podcast. They're cool guys. Did you get it from the BBC? No. I try not to get articles from the BBC. But, you know, whenever you do get an article, not just from the BBC, take anything you see from the mainstream media, take with a massive pinch of salt, all right? Let's take a look at this one. This is from USA Today. So, yeah, It's just another bullshit mainstream media article. But we're going to take a look at it anyway, because we'll discuss it and see what we think is bullshit. So let's get on with it. What is scrommiting? New medical slang divides health experts, cannabis advocates. Right, they tried a true way to treat cannabinoid hypermesis. The tried and true way to treat cannabis. I can't fucking read properly because my eyes fucked. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and read again. What is scrommiting? Yeah, we did that bit. They tried and true way. Again, hold on. The tried and true way to treat cannabinoid hypermesis syndrome is by ceasing marijuana use entirely. And that's allegedly. I've heard of people who have this, and then to make it stop. Oh, look, just quickly, more propaganda here. Look, there's this video that's playing. I can't let it play for long. We'll get flagged for copyright. But it says U.S. cannabis cultivation generates emissions equivalent to 10 million vehicles. More shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's some propaganda campaign that's being fired up here. Just trying to make cannabis out to be the devil all over again. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go back to this. A new gut-turning slang term for a symptom of prolonged cannabis use has started to circulate, and it's dividing experts. Medical professionals say the symptom should serve as a warning. Jesus, my eye is really fucked. Apologies. I woke up on Monday, got something wrong with my eye. Can't see properly out of my left eye. I've been to the eye doctor and all that. It should go away, but it's definitely making an issue for me reading news articles. I'm not supposed to even have much screen time, but you know, I've got to do the 420 news, right? Yeah, so I'm going to close one eye and read with just one eye, and that might make it a little bit easier. Medical profession, we read that, but serve as a warning why marijuana advocates call it fear-mongering. In recent weeks, scrommiting has made its way into headlines. The image-inducing term combines vomiting and screaming. And you know where they say they're image-inducing? Because you can imagine it. And somebody in the chat said as well about it's something you could imagine on a Ren and Stimpy cartoon. And it is, isn't it? You can really see this shit happening on a Ren and Stimpy cartoon. A common symptom of cannabinoid hypermesis syndrome, also known as CHS. According to the Cleveland Clinic, intense pain from cyclical vomiting caused by CHS may cause patients, to scream while they throw up. So, oh my God, man. It's ridiculous. A nice point there from Ray's Racing Videos. What's up, bro? Thanks for joining us. Probably the government Monsanto, bud. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're just going to blame cannabis for this? It could be so many other things. And they're just going to blame cannabis. And that does get covered a little bit further on in the article here. The term has grown in popularity as more states legalize medical and recreational marijuana. And since they've spammed it on every news article for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, it's definitely growing in popularity because you guys are just throwing it around all over the place. But anyway, as of December, 24 states have legalized the substance recreationally. Dr. David Stream, medical director of the Cleveland Clinic's Alcohol and Drug Recovery Center, said he's treated a range of patients with CHS over the years. He explained that even the strongest anti-nausea medication given to chemotherapy patients, like ondansetron, didn't stop it. And usually, cannabis is apparently quite a good medicine to try and help patients with chemotherapy sickness. So maybe they should try using cannabis to treat the cannabis hypermesis. Anyway, Stream told USA Today on December 5th that most emergency department physicians he's spoken to in Cleveland, Ohio area have treated a case of CHS every day for the past 5 years. Okay, now you see how this is just, it's playing with the statistics a little bit, I think. It's playing with the numbers. It's like, okay, so every emergency department physician has spoken to somebody who's had the CHS, right? But how many other people are using cannabis and not going to the emergency room? You've had at least one a day. Okay, fine. But how many people is that out of? 1 million people? 500,000? It doesn't really give us the true statistics, does it? But it makes it seem way more urgent. Like, oh, there's somebody in hospital every day with this. Okay. But out of how many people? Out of 10? Out of 100? We really do need to know how many people are consuming cannabis in this particular place, in this particular area, before we try and decide whether cannabis hypermesis syndrome is a bad thing. Well, of course it's a bad thing, but how popular is it? How common is it? But marijuana advocates like Paul Armentano, Deputy Director of Cannabis Reform Organization NORML, says CHS is actually very rare, and a lack of research on the syndrome is muddying the understanding of its cause. Armentano alleged CHS and scromiting are the latest anti-marijuana talking points. Very true. I agree with this guy. The very fact that we're rebranding what was known for 2 decades as cannabis hyperemesis syndrome as scrommiting. Scrommiting is clearly sensational, Armentano said. It's made up of non-scientific term in lieu of a very specific term and diagnosis that has now been recognized in the literature for a couple of decades. Spot on. You see what I'm saying here? It's like this cannabis hyperemesis syndrome has been a thing for a while. It's been known about. The cause of it directly is not quite known, but people know about cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. But where is this scrommiting thing coming from? And why is it being spammed on us on all of these different news networks for the last couple of weeks? Why? There's a particular reason for it. We have to be concerned when we see things like this happening. It's not for no reason. It's as if reefer madness is coming back, everybody. They're trying to hype up the negative points of cannabis all over again. It's something we definitely need to be concerned about, as far as I'm concerned. We have more here. What is cannabis hyperemesis syndrome? Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome is a side effect of prolonged marijuana use that results in nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain, according to the Cleveland Clinic. Now, we got many people who have used cannabis for a long time who listen to this show. Do you all have CHS? I used an extraordinary amount of cannabis for a ridiculously long time, 20 years. Never had an issue. How many people out there actually suffer with this? Anyway, to be diagnosed with CHS, a patient must meet the following criteria according to the Rome Foundation, a non-profit, whatever, that sets medical diagnosis and treatment for gut-related disorders. So to have cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, you should fit these 3 criteria. Cyclical vomiting, presentation after prolonged marijuana use, relief of vomiting after cessation of marijuana use. I think that means stopping it. So just those 3 things. There's no proper study being done here to try and figure out exactly. So, you keep being sick. Do you use cannabis? Been using it for a long time? It's cannabis hyperemesis. That's what that is. Let's not do any actual research to try and figure out what actually is going on and what's actually causing it. Let's just label it because of 3 vague criteria. Ridiculous. This video popped up again. Jesus. How long has cannabis hyperemesis syndrome been diagnosed? CHS was first reported in Australian medical literature in 2004. So that's 21 years ago. A small study, listen to this, right? A small study analyzed 19 patients. Bro. 19 patients? I don't even know where to begin. You call that a fucking study? 19 patients? Anyway, analyze 19 patients with cyclical vomiting after prolonged marijuana use. I'll scroll a little bit more. They're showing us some thing at the top. Let's give it to that. What causes cannabis hyperemesis syndrome? The causes of CHS outside of prolonged marijuana use remains murky because research is limited, Stream said. Prolonged in the case of CHS means daily marijuana use. I haven't really been able to connect potency, and in the papers and literature that I've seen, there's no good understanding of any trends as far as what percentage THC is needed to cause this, Stream said. So why is it in all the headlines? Nobody's got a clue what's going on. They don't even know if it's THC that's causing this. But let's just try and make out like cannabis is the devil all again. The devil's lettuce is coming to get. One cannabis can kill you. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. They don't even know what's going on, but they're happy to just label it. But again, like I said at the start of the episode here, it's like they're happy to just label cannabis as the problem here because there's a negative issue. But when cannabis does good things, like prevent children from having epileptic seizures, nothing gets said. When it helps with people with Parkinson's, nothing gets said. Good question from Billy. Why is there no scrommiting epidemic in Amsterdam where many people smoke for the first time? Many smoke far more than they have ever done before. I have never seen it ever in Amsterdam. There's something else going on here. Savant says poison sprayed on the China weed. Also a good analysis there. I mean, that's good as guessing what they're saying. It's just as much research as what they've got here. We don't really know what's going on, right? Anyway, we'll carry on here. Armento agreed, adding that toxicology tests of the marijuana patient used before developing CHS would be helpful in understanding a more direct cause. This is in quotation marks. That's my first question. Is there something unique or different about the product they are consuming, particularly when you hear stories about people who say, I started using cannabis in my late teens or early 20s and used it for 30 years, and it was only in my mid-40s, that maths doesn't add up, it was only in my mid-40s that I developed this syndrome, Armentano said. That strikes me that there is something different about the cannabis. Very good point, I think. Delta what is a side heading they had here. Here's how to understand the difference between Delta 8 and 9. That's another article. Armentano said, and this is a really good point, everybody. Listen to this. Armentano said he wonders if unregulated or synthetic cannabis products Delta 8 or Delta 10 could cause CHS. Delta 8 and Delta 10 are federally legal to purchase and consume as long as they contain 0.3% or less of THC. Delta 9, on the other hand, is a cannabinoid associated with medical and recreational marijuana legislation. It is regulated by the states. And that's a really good point, I think. It's like, could these companies just be spraying the THC Delta 9, which that's the one we've been consuming for so long, now they're throwing some Delta 8 or Delta 10 on these buds, or maybe they've been bred into it. Maybe it's a different kind of cannabinoid that is causing this cannabis hypermesis. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying this is things they need to look into. You can't just instantly assume that, oh, it's the devil cannabis, because this is just appearing not out of nowhere, because it's been going on for 20 years. But if they're saying that the cases are going up, is it related to the introduction of these other cannabinoids such as Delta 8 or Delta 10 THC? It's something that needs to be looked into before they start just telling us that weed in general is the devil. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a really good point that we brought up there. It's very possible, if not likely, that at least in some of these cases, there could be people who are exposed to synthetic cannabis and simply don't know any better, he said. They simply present themselves to the ER and said, I use some marijuana. Without the marijuana, we don't know if this is synthetically derived cannabis like K2 or synthetic hemp intoxication. That's sometimes something like Delta 8. Or if it was actually more traditional cannabis flower. Very good points brought up there. How common is cannabis hypermesis syndrome? Because research on CHS remains thin, it's hard to determine just how common it is. And even current research is fairly inconsistent. The study cited by Cleveland Clinic found that about 33% of self-reported frequent marijuana users visit an emergency room and meet the criteria for CHS. And in a small 2020, when you're saying it's a small study, less than 19, anyway, and in a small 2021 study of 321 patients who used marijuana and displayed nausea and vomiting, about 17% was suspected of having CHS. For more local perspective, Mercy Hospital in Springfield, Missouri, a state that legalized recreational marijuana in 2023, reported 32 cases, oh my God, of CHS in its emergency department since January. Media Relations and Communication Manager Etty Bernaking told USA Today on December the 5th. What treatment is used? Oh, it skipped there. Did you see that? See that? I have to figure out where we were. We were way down here. For some reason, it just decided to jump. What treatment is used for cannabis hypermesis syndrome? The first step for treating CHS is ceasing marijuana use entirely, Stream said. Easy, right? It's not like for the rest of your life, you're going to be leaning over the porcelain bowl, screaming to God, are you? Just imagine it, man. Imagine it. Visualize it. You will be there for the rest of your life. No, you just have to stop using cannabis. Which, you know, if you're a recreational user, fine. But if you're a medical user, that can be a little bit difficult. When it comes to the medication, Stream said an IV drip of substances such as droperidol and haloperidol are often used in emergency rooms for CHS. As for temporary relief, hot showers and baths can relieve the nausea and vomiting, according to the Cleveland Clinic. And that's right. I mean, as they say, CHS has been out there for 20 years, and usually the best way to treat it has been found to have a hot bath, and that reduces the symptoms a little bit. And of course, stop using cannabis as well. Capsaicin, commonly referred to as hot pepper cream, can also be helped rubbed on the abdomen for some relief, Stream said. So there's no need for, let's say, for example, if you went and drank too much alcohol, what they're doing? They're pumping your fucking stomach, man. You know what I'm saying? So where's the news story about that? Where's the news story about the devil alcohol causing people to throw up? You know? Oh, we had this. How many emergency visits today are we going to have of young teenagers just rolling in to the emergency room, having to have their stomach pumped because they consumed far too much alcohol? How about that? And John Colson sent me in an article here as well, just random stats about alcohol-related stuff. And it says alcohol-related deaths in the United States. More than 178,000 people died from alcohol-related causes from 2020 to 2021. 178,000 people. And they want to come on here and tell us for the last 2 or 3 weeks we've been spammed about scrommiting because a few people have had it. When the 178,000 people have died? You know what I'm saying? What are they talking about? It's ridiculous. And it's not like more people use use alcohol than cannabis in the USA now, because we've seen numbers go up all the time. And there's some studies that would suggest that more people are using cannabis than alcohol nowadays in the USA, where it's legalized, of course. I ain't seen any news articles like 178,000 people in the USA have died from cannabis use in 2020 to 2021. Have you? No. Where's that fucking news article? You just all want to tell us about scrommiting and CHS and what the fuck, man? It's just at some point you've got to recognize the ridiculous propaganda. Damn. DCI Burnside in the chat said England over 1 million alcohol-related hospital visits in 2024. Damn. And there's a lot of people who use cannabis in the UK. In West Korea. You know what I'm saying? How many people have gone to the A&E with cannabis hypermesis syndrome? How many? 5. I'll guess at 5. Know what I mean? 339,916 alcohol specific. Where's the news article for that? Huh? Do we feel like we're being propagandized yet? Do you all see it? Huh? Does it give you faith that these news organizations are there to keep us well informed, or they're just trying to tell us what they want us to know? Right, from Billy Barnes, who says, droperidol reports side effects including headaches, fatigue, constipation, difficulty breathing, skin rash, hives, itching, and increased sweating, anxiety, agitation, hallucinations, or dysphoria. Sounds nice. Where can I get hold of some of that? You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, a few people, they've been scrommiting. So we need to do something about this devil cannabis. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous. I'm sure we're all just sick of it by now, right? Just the propaganda again. But do you feel the same as me? Like, it just feels as if there's a resurgence of propaganda and reefer madness starting out. We keep just seeing a rise. Not just a rise as well. I mean, because we see their articles, but they're on so many networks now. It's not just on one or two. fringe news organizations. It's on all of them and all of the big ones. There seems to be something happening here where they're just trying to convince everybody again. And they won't convince us, guys, because we know better than to listen to the mainstream media. But there's a large group of people out there who still think those news organizations are telling us the truth. The BBC, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all these news organizations, they ain't telling us the truth. They're just telling us what they want us to know. They won't give us information unless it helps with their narrative. And it seems as if their narrative is heading in the direction of cannabis bad. Cannabis the devil. Don't take it. Oh, don't take the cannabis. It can make you really sick. Oh, don't take the cannabis. It can ruin your mental health and give you psychosis. This is what we're seeing a lot of now. And we have to ask ourselves why. Is there a big step backwards that's about to happen? I don't know. You tell me. So let's take a look at this poll we have in the YouTube. I'll close down the YouTube video. So I'm going to have to open it back up again. Give me a second. Because it was doubling up the sound in the background. And, obviously we don't want that, do we? We don't want to have echo. That would be lame. Just open the link, man. Stop asking me questions. I'm going to press pause on the video so it don't. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm here in the chat. Shout out to chat. What's up? Let's end the poll. Let's see what we're saying here. Yeah, those 4 questions. We had, again, the question was, do you believe this is actually a problem or just another scare story? 54% of people say it's exaggerated. So, it's kind of admitting that this is kind of an issue, but it's being exaggerated. And I think that's where I stand as well. It's massively being exaggerated, just ramming this propaganda down our necks and trying to turn people who don't know better against cannabis. Ridiculous. The second one was, no, we need more info. That's 75% of you guys out there who are like, nah, I'm not buying this. And then somewhere in the middle for 16%. And it's a real issue, 9%. Okay, so, and decent amount of people as well. We had 43 votes in that poll there. So thanks for everybody for taking part in it. I know we're all a little bit biased, but we're also well informed about cannabis. We all have friends who use it. We all use it ourselves. So if there's anybody to ask, then it's the cannabis community, to see what results we can come up with. And 75% people just be like, nah, this is crazy talk. This is crazy talk. And many of us have been using cannabis for a long, long time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So thanks to everybody for joining us. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have a friend who suffers with this? Do you have a relative that suffers with? Do you suffer it with yourself, or don't you know anybody? The more opinions we have on this, the better. Of course, we always ask that you respectfully discuss this with each other in the comments. So head there, let us know what you think, and let us know if you suffer with it as well. It would be interesting to get some perspective. But damn, stay safe out there. Yeah. Yeah, it's it's crazy out there, everybody. The propaganda is coming back, so maybe they're gonna go backwards. Scary to think. It's a conspiracy created by the fat loss drug companies. That's a good perspective. I like that one. Yes, BS makes the world go round. Indeed. Keeps everybody angry at each other, doesn't it? So shout out to Couch Flyer, DCI Burnside, Marcus Paris had a bomb. Who else do we have here? We've got John Colson, Mr. Smiles, Billy Bonds here, Road Music, Turpo's in the chat. What's up, Turpo? Let me see who else we have. Green Grocer, Deadhead Dread. What's up, bro? Let me see. Road Music, Billy. Sorry for missing anybody. Mad Dog's here. What's up, Mad Dog? Yeah, so thanks. And Noel's here as well. What's up, Noel? Y2K Adrian. Probably get sick of hearing that, don't you? John Lewis is here as well. Ray's Racing Videos. Yeah, so thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode of 420 News. The last episode didn't do too well. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I misspelled the thumbnail. It said drops instead of drone drops. I was like, I'm not going to change it now. It's done. But yeah, the last episode wasn't good. I hope this one does better. So thanks, everybody, for joining me. Share if you can. Like, subscribe, and all that kind of YouTube stuff we have to say. But just stay safe, everybody, because that cannabis is trying to get you. You know what I'm saying? And if you do have any videos of scrommiting, please send them, because I think that would be kind of funny. Have a nice weekend, everybody. We'll catch you on Sunday. Sunday for the and there's Smee. What's up, Smee? Shout out to Smee. Yeah, so join us on Sunday for the cannabis news and the grow guides at 6 p.m. UK time. Yeah, stay high, stay safe. Make sure you join us then. Goodbye, everybody.